How you doing? The rise and fall of Hercules. So before I give you my reason why Hercules fell, became irrelevant for some players that play MCOC, let me know what you think. What was the reason why Hercules fall off in MCOC? What was the reason behind it? Pause the video and comment below. So Hercules came out at a perfect time. I don't know if that was Kabam's intention, but when it comes to Hercules, he came out when most of the popular YouTubers already finished Abyss, at least completion, if not 100% when it comes to Abyss. So at the time, Abyss was not trending, like it was not important when it comes to like the popular YouTubers since they already completed it, if not 100% when it comes to Abyss. But what happens after that is pretty much ad content was still a very big deal back then. Like if you were new to the game, especially if you did like what do you call this? You can do a lot of stuff using just Hercules, okay? The reason why was Hercules so powerful is because of what? Let me know in the comment section below what made Hercules such a great champion. Do you know what it is? It's his signature ability, okay? You really want him awakened, preferably at max sig, but without a doubt, Hercules' signature ability was the most valuable thing in MCOC. And he was, I say without a doubt, the most important signature ability at his peak level, because you can get very far with Hercules if you have him awakened and at max sig. Like you have these 20% revives on your stash. So if you use these 20% revives using Hercules, you can get very far with Hercules with just a 20% revives when it comes to ad content. And back then, when it comes to ad content, it was like a very big deal back then. Like you can get through all the way. I think in one of my accounts, I only use 6-star Hercules all the way to completion of Act 6. Okay, he can get very far. Even with some cases, even using 5-star Hercules. 5-star Hercules can get through like all the way to past Act 6, okay? And then when you got your Act 2, or in this case, Act 7, you know, you can get very far using 6-star Hercules in Act 7. Maybe even Act 8. I know people have mentioned he became irrelevant when Act 9 came out. I don't know about Act 8. But I know he was still pretty good when it comes to Hercules as a 6-star in Act 7 and maybe even Act 8. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Comment below. But really, besides Act content, what was the biggest reason why Hercules fell off? Is because, can you guys guess? It was Battlegrounds, okay? Because of Battlegrounds is really the biggest reason why Hercules, I think, fell off. And that's why today, for some players, why he is still irrelevant. Because when it comes to Battlegrounds, you know, it based on how much time you beat opponent. Not only that, it based on how much health you beat opponent. So Hercules can solo a lot of fights in Battlegrounds, but like a what, 1% health? Because of his immortality. So his immortality, when it comes to Hercules, it became almost irrelevant, because even if you could solo fights with Hercules at 1% health, there's a very good chance you're going to lose that fight. Okay, it was not just to be able to solo fights, you had to have amount of health and an amount of time you want to do it. And when it comes to Hercules, another thing about Hercules is he is a ramp up champion. Okay, he does require ramp up. So, you know, if he actually started with like 3 persistent charge when it comes to Hercules, he would be so much better in Battlegrounds. He'll be so much faster. So he's really more designed for longer fights. Not exactly longer fights. He's like longer short fights, to be more correct. Okay, because he ramps up every fight. So basically he gets stronger every fight until he gets to 12 charges. So imagine if he started with 12 charges in Battlegrounds. Wow, he would make such a big difference. defensively and offensively. I think before I give you guys my reason to how Hercules can become irrelevant, let's just talk about what made him become irrelevant first. So Battlegrounds, basically it, because when it comes to his signature ability, it pretty much made it pretty much useless. Because if you even if you solo with 1% health, like you're still gonna probably lose that fight, especially when it comes to high tier Battlegrounds players. So that was probably one of the biggest reasons why Hercules fell off when it comes to the game. So another reason why Hercules fell off is because of Necropolis. Okay, uh, Hercules was somewhat still in his prime just when Necropolis came out. So for some reason, Kabam thought he was this broken champion, that he's so broken we had to nerf him from Necropolis. What a bunch of clowns when it comes to Kabam. Okay, this really shows you that they have no clue what they're doing a lot of times. Maybe there's actually, give them some credit, they might know what they're doing sometimes, but most of the time I think they have no clue how to run the game, especially when it comes to bugs as well. So they made pretty much Necropolis anti-Hercules. So let's take a look at what I mean by anti-Hercules. So basically this one, Roman number 3, okay? Roman number 3. Roman numbers, I believe. I keep forgot how to say it now. Number 3, the attacker's immortality and the destructible buff have their duration by reduced by 1,000%, and the willpower mastery has its potency reduced by 50%. This is such a big deal for Hercules, because when it comes to Hercules, his immortality is pretty much what makes him. Hercules, without his awakened ability, he's just doesn't really do much. I mean, he has no utility besides his signature ability, which is very good. But also, he really relies on damage mastery. When it comes to the willpower mastery being reduced to 50%, this is really not good for Hercules. He can manage it with enough fights with the Herald ability, and if you have 3 points in willpower, but you have to get there at some point. But you're just breaking even when it comes to instead of gaining health, you're breaking even from willpower, and you're still gonna take recoil damage. And so when he goes pretty much to 1% health, you're gonna be instant KO with Hercules. And let me just show you what I mean. So here I am. I'm activating my boost. As you can see here, I'm going to activate my 15% attack boost plus 20% attack boost. And let's go to the game. So I played pretty well, I think. But then towards at some point, I think I played not so well. But, this overall is not bad gameplay. The reason, and this is, as you could see, how much health I'm going to take off from Titania here. And again, he does need time to ramp up as well. So that's why the damage is not good at this point. I do have 11 now when it comes to his what do you call that, persistent charge. I'm not really sure exactly the name, but almost at full power at this point. So right here I was trying to throw my special 2, but I was a little slow. So he did get me right here. What else? So I'm not going to show you everything. This is already on YouTube, but you're going to see at some point where Titania does hit me with her indestructibility and unstoppable, so I couldn't really do much, I think, at this point right here. So now, see right there, I could have been immortal right there, right? But what happens, because of the node, Necropolis node, I end up losing right away because they pretty much took away Hercules' immortality. Okay, so I can keep going. I actually spent 5 revives, and this is already on YouTube. So let's just show you how much health I took after 5 revives, okay? Or how much percentage anyways. Let's see. Oh, come on. Come on. I took 15% health with 5 revives. Okay, basically, that's ridiculous. Okay, That was one of the biggest mistakes Kabam ever did, was nerf Hercules in Necropolis. 5 revives. Look at this. It took 15% health of Titania. Okay, they should have never nerfed Hercules in Necropolis. The thing about Hercules, he was not even the top 10 best option in Abyss, but they got this YouTuber. His name is Karate Mike. He has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. But for some reason, Kabam decided to hire him. It's like, oh, look at Hercules, best champion in the game. He's so broken. We should nerf him in Necropolis. And as I mentioned earlier, Abyss has already, finished for most players. And so when Hercules came out, or most popular YouTubers at least, right? So they didn't realize Hercules was like not even in the top 10 best champion for Abyss. So what happens if you're not even with his immortality, he wasn't even the best top 10 best champion in Abyss, and you take away his immortality from Necropolis, he becomes pretty much useless. So it's really disappointed that they did that, and really just to prove you that Hercules was not even the top 10 best champion in Abyss, and obviously Necropolis. So when it comes to Hela, as you can see, she's still only a 6-star. All right. So if you look at the node, what I showed you earlier, it's not just Hercules that got nerfed by Necropolis. It's also Hela. And if you watch my videos, when it comes to Hela, her signature ability is very valuable, especially in Incursion. Okay. So, and this is gonna be a 6-star. I don't know if it's a record time, and she might still have some records when it comes to Necropolis. I don't know if a 7-star rank 4 fully boosted have beaten it, or 7-star rank 4 Mr. Sinister has beaten some of her time. That I don't know for sure. But this was back then, and I do believe this was a record back then with 6-star Hela, okay, or beating Odin, Necropolis Odin, in 3 minutes and 8 seconds using 6-star, by the way. So this is really why Hercules was never in the top 10 best champion for Abyss, and they should have not nerfed his ability in Necropolis. I really think when it comes to Hercules, so many people ranked him up, right? He could have been somewhat decent for Necropolis if they didn't take away his immortality and nerf his willpower, and was really a big deal for Hercules. As you can see from my earlier fights, as you can see from the beginning on this fight, I'm constantly losing health. But Hercules should not be losing health when it comes to, or netting negative health when it comes to, if you are running damage mastery and if you have 3 points in willpower, which I have. But because of willpower reduced by 50%, he's constantly losing 50% health. Health in the fight. Even with the with the weakness debuff, where he's supposed to be gaining health, he's still losing health. So by the time, if you go down to 0%, his immortality is not going to trigger, because he's pretty much reduced to 0% in times. So really big nerf to Hercules, and was one of Kabam's biggest mistake as well, is nerfing Hercules' immortality and his willpower when it comes to these long form content, which is really disappointing, I think, which is unfortunate. So the last reason why Hercules fell off when it comes to why he fell off is because when it comes to Hercules, he was never the best champion in Incursion, but so many people ranked up Hercules because I could almost guarantee, I'm willing to bet, that he was the most high ranked champion on his prime. So everybody had pretty much a rank 4, if not a rank 5, 6-star Hercules when he came out. So everybody said, oh, look at Hercules, he's the best champion in Incursion. And this guy, Karate Mike, and somehow this guy works for Kabam now. I don't know how they hired this guy. My dude, Hercules is #1 in Incursion, and there isn't even remotely close. This is just this is obviously completely false. But so, and then what happened? People start realizing that Angela is the best champion in Incursion. Okay, this is a 5-star, by the way. This is 5-star Angela in only zone 15, which is a fraction of her damage. Okay, a fraction of her power. So this is an official Kabam mic, clearing all the way to zone 15 using 5-star Angela. So here I am in zone 13. I'm about to try to face Ultron boss. As you can see here, he is rank 5, 6-star ascended max sig, but then you do have personal space regeneration. And this is really Hercules' biggest problem when it comes to obviously tyranny is probably number one, I guess. But then you combine that with you have personal space generation. He just can't do much when it comes to personal space generation, because really your goal with Hercules is do the special 2 spam, right? But then the opponent's health is too high. That means the regen is going to be too high, and Hercules is not going to be able to out damage it. And I try to out damage it. This is Hercules with 8 hacks, by the way. Okay, and I couldn't out damage it, and I was really disappointed that I wasn't able to. To be fair, when it comes to Hercules, I don't think I lost a single fight all the way here, and I pretty much used Hercules only with the exception of the first fight where I used Galen to make him a herald. Okay, besides that, I pretty much used Hercules all the way to zone 13 boss, just using Hercules, and this is the reason why he's still number 6 on the best champions in incursions list for me, because of that. But unfortunately, as you can see here, I will get knocked out. Unfortunately, I was trying to get hit on purpose, so maybe I can out damage personal space duration, but I kind of got out of no. Yep, the bleed took me out, unfortunately. So what do you think? What can Kabam do to have Hercules improve in the game? I think Kabam is saying he could get a buff, so Hercules getting a buff will make him definitely more relevant. Okay, for sure. Anything else that you think of besides Hercules getting a buff? I think a big factor is if he just starts with 3 persistent charge. If he starts with 3 persistent charge, he would be much better in battlegrounds, I think. Start with 3 persistent charge. I would prefer to be like 12, but that might be too much. Somebody would argue make 12 is too much, but if you did start with 12 persistent charge in battlegrounds, he would be so much better, like defender and an attacker as well. So at least 3 persistent charge, I think he would become relevant, and he is going to get a buff as far as I know. So those 2 things, obviously they could ascend him as a 7-star as well. That could make him more relevant, and maybe perhaps make content that Hercules is designed for, I think, which will help him as well. So if you have any other thoughts besides buffing Hercules, giving him a 7-star extension for Hercules, maybe give him 3 persistent charge as well for battlegrounds, that I think would make him more relevant, I believe. So anything else, let me know. Thank you.